Welcome to the Business Owner Elevation Podcast, the show that's designed for coaches, consultants, and expert business owners that are looking to achieve higher levels of productivity and profitability, where we share battle-tested tactics and innovative ideas that guarantee to elevate your business rapidly. Brought to you from the award-winning Best UK Business Podcast in 2015. Without further ado, here's your hosts, Robert Dean Smith and Leon Street.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Owner Elevation Podcast, where we take your business to the next level of productivity and profitability. I'm here today, myself, Leon Street, alongside my co-host,
Robert Dean Smith, the first, all the way from the dulcet tones of the Golden Black State. I'm right here in the city of Wolverhampton. This is where our office lies.
Awesome,
HQ.
awesome. We are in HQ here in Wolverhampton, the north side of Wolverhampton right now. Very close to hop onto the motorway, get in and out of different cities, and more to the point, the second city where Robert Dean Smith the first is from. So what's today's topic, Robert Dean Smith the first? Do you have it? Because I have it.
You do have it. You do have it. What is it kind of like?
So here's the topic today, guys. We're going in for the deep dive. What is preventing coaches from growing their business right now? So one more time, what is preventing coaches from growing their business right now?
Hindering, preventing,
stopping,
grinding to a halt,
cement.
Yeah, what is stopping?
Inertia.
Yep, what is stopping these coaches?
So I think we've got about 6 points, 7 points maybe, that we're going to touch on. And I know, especially if you're a coach, if you're existing, if you're new, these points are going to be hitting home with you one way or another. Either it's something you're working on, or it's something that, as Rob said, you're stuck in right now and you cannot move forward. And so we're going to focus on these 7 key areas. And I'm sure that actually when we release the title of this podcast, we're going to give it a nice how with some 7 points, kind of go into direct response marketing.
Yep.
We're going to sex it up. So anyway, here it is. We're going to kick off. The first thing that is preventing, hindering people, more to the point, coaches, is their product. Robert, what do we mean by that?
The product. A lot of people have not really thought at what the end result is, what the product's actually going to do for the client, and is there somewhere they can take them after that, or is that it? Is it like domestos that kills all known germs dead? Are you finished after that one product? But most people just not got a big idea, nothing original. So this is why some coaches are stuck. They're spinning their wheels, like when a car's spinning their wheels, getting nowhere fast, stuck in the mud, because their product doesn't differentiate from what's already in the marketplace. So why should I go to you and have this coaching or buy this digital product or physical product?
You know what, I think, Rob's raised some good points there, and I think in terms of products, I mean, sometimes people are stuck. They don't have a product, they're a coach, and what they've done is put together a service that in essence is their product or is their service, and it's kind of come about from a sporadic evolution of here's what I've got to offer. There's no kind of,
junkyard thoughts.
Exactly, yeah. It's they've swiped a bit here, got a bit from there, they've picked up something here. But here's the thing, I'm going to go back to, and this is a story or a metaphor we use quite regularly and have in the past, and it's also going to show our age. Guys, if ever you've watched the series The A-Team, yeah, we're going back to the 80s here, where you have Mr. T, Murdoch, Face, and Hannibal. So they got the Fantastic Four in the A-Team. So 4 guys. But whenever they were faced with a challenge, and generally they were helping out somebody in distress who was being bullied or had a problem with some of the baddies, they would come up with a strategic plan. But before they did that, they would assess what was going on. So in terms of product, and how I relate this is that if you're going to bring a product to market in your coaching business, you really need to think about what it's going to do for your customer. Is it going to get them out of the shit, get them away from the baddies, take them through a change, and then them come out the other side with a happy ending? And I think, what Rob was saying is that the market is filled with products, but if you take that one simple step of strategizing and thinking about what is the journey that somebody's going to experience, and what is the result and the transformation that they will get from your program, your product. I think at that point, that's where you're headed in the right direction. And there's actually something that Rob kind of slipped in there, but I didn't want him to slip it in there. But hey ho, this is what you get when you work with Robert Dean Smith the first. The ideas come in when they need to, and when they need to is now. He mentioned the big idea. And we're going to touch on this in a moment, but I mean, we can either jump to it or we can bring it in now, Rob, you know, especially when we're talking about product, because this is one of the 7 checkpoints or lists or bullets or 7 key things that is preventing, hindering coaches from growing their business. But from my point of view, it is really thinking about your product, because you don't want to go out there and your product, you know, seem vanilla, so it's the same as everybody else. There's no real excitement around it. There's no thought about what results it's going to generate. And actually, you know, is it actually a new thing? Is it something that people should get excited about? What's the emotions that your product is going to invoke into your clients, or even before their clients, when they're leads, you know, prospects? What is it doing for you? Because actually, if the product, you know, is going to do these amazing things for people, it should sell itself before people are on the program or actually using your product. If it is, you know, like a coaching program, or whether you have something like a course where people just sign into a membership site, it really doesn't matter. But you've really got to think about strategically how this product is going to help people. Should we move on to the big idea? I think we can just slip this one straight in.
Sure.
So, big idea. What are we talking about with big idea, Rob? I want to bring you in there because I'll add to it. But what are we talking about, Rob?
Really, the big idea is this one central guiding theme of your products and services that answers the pain point or strikes at that pain point and gives your, you know, the person that's either enrolling on your course or buying your programs, the result that they're looking for. But the big idea is it's probably the front end marketing of it. Like, how do you make something, like Leon saying, not be vanilla but be strawberry chocolate and all the other colours of the rainbow and flavours and actually stand out. And that's it's not easy. There's a deep thinking process, but many people do not do the initial research required.
Hold on. What was that? The initial
deep research required.
The initial deep research required. Take that one to the bank, and I just want to pull this one. It's almost like a light bulb moment for everybody listening. How much research did you actually do before you put your program and your product out there? I'm not saying that you had to wait, but how much did you do even if you launched without doing any research? Did you commit to doing any type of research? This is massively important. If, as Rob just pointed out, you don't want to be vanilla. Carry on, please, Rob.
Yeah, I think that's it. And this is, I call it the grunt work. Loads of people, they're chasing the shiny. They want that end result. I've got my product name. I've got this, I've got that. But they've done no, like, this goes beyond, like, just as, you know, you're going to have, in the research, you may have a survey. You should. But there's just the way that...
Have what? Was it a survey, did you say?
Survey, at least do a survey. But it's then dissecting a survey, and then it's all the other research that you're going to wrap around that. I mean, I don't want to give away all my trade secrets that we use here in BOE, but I mean, it would, I mean, for me, like, sometimes I do copywriting projects for certain clients, and they have no idea. They just think, oh yeah, you're going to write a piece of copy, send it over. And like 90% of my time before I write one word is just like I'm researching the customer, the target audience, what they may have bought before. And you're going really deep, psychologically deep, because you're trying to affect, you know, when you put out a sales letter or a marketing piece like that, that might hit the eyeballs of 100,000 people. You're trying to move you're trying to outthink how 100,000 people think, so that you will get a percentage of those to raise their hand and go into this funnel and buy your product. And that doesn't start because you think, oh yeah, we just come up with this magical, whimsical thing, and in 5 minutes, wham bam, thank you ma'am, it's all done. It doesn't work like that. I mean, one of the greatest sales letters ever written by a guy called Gary Halbert, called the Coat of Arms letter. You can go and Google that, the Coat of Arms. There's a source of wisdom. When I done my research on that letter's only 320 words, but it took Gary Halbert 18 months to perfect those 320 words. But was it worth it? Yes, it was. When you're collecting in the region of £250,000 a day for months on end for like nearly 5, 6, 7 years straight, course it's worth it. So that's the level of research that some people need to go into, and it seems like it doesn't seem like you should go that far, but it's what's required if you're going to have A grade product, not a B grade or a C grade. If you really want to carve out that sub niche, be the master of your own domain, get paid for your knowledge. That's the extent. There's so many components, but the research phase is vitally important.
Absolutely. Now, Rob's picked up on a really important phase of the overall theme in that second point he's raised, which is the big idea. And the big idea is all to do with, you know, what is the strategic pattern interrupt of what you're about to do, either with your business or what your business uses from that big idea within its products and how you market them. And it's a really important point in terms of how you differentiate your business. And Rob just, you know, he briefly explained he's not going to reveal everything to everybody listening. And rightly so, you guys need to invest. You know what? It pays to invest. But anyway, the point I'm getting to is that with a big idea is that you're setting yourself apart, and there's something called a unique mechanism, which is where you start to take the big idea to the next level. And this is something I'm sure we'll touch upon, you know, in an episode in the future. I think we'll just deep dive into the big idea and break it down. You know what I want to do? We'll do an episode where we do the big idea and break down our own unique mechanism. And
but you know what? In saying that, guys, if you're not in the BOE Facebook group, we need to whiteboard it out. You're going to hear audio, but I think you need to see the visual map out.
Absolutely.
So if you're not in the BOE Facebook group, you need to head over there, join that group, because there's going to be these live trainings. There's no charge, free, FREE. But I've been listening to this audio, or show podcast audio, and cement it with the visual representation mapped out on a whiteboard. It's going to make a whole lot of sense to you. And maybe if we're lucky, you know, Leon might actually provide you with a PDF of the
I might provide a PDF for those who like PDFs. So anyway, guys, if you want to join the Facebook group where Rob's explaining, we'll notify you when we go into the exclusive whiteboard training. Simply go to businessownerelevation.com/group, and that will get you into the group. So when you get there, simply click on the join button and, you know, join, participate, and get ready for the great content we're going to reveal. But the big idea, look out for it. We will do an exclusive training on that one. So good point, Rob. So the third point that I've got here, what is preventing coaches from growing their business? Technology, Rob. I'm gonna let you jump into this one, because I know this is not a strong area.
Technophobia is like, what's the things that people are scared of with the spiders? What's that other phobia? Arachnophobia. Technophobia is the arachnophobia for coaches, because they get confused with what payment gateway software to use, what email software to use,
we're going in,
what
Rob.
landing page to use. It just becomes a pile of overwhelm and confusion. That doesn't need to be, because I'm telling you right now, as of this recording in 2017, it's never been as easier, you know, paint by numbers, to actually do it. If you spend a little bit of time, even me who really does not connect that well with the technology side. But here's the flip side to that. The flip side to that, this is why there's so much competition flooding your marketplace, because now they can go, you know, to something like ClickFunnels, or they can go to, what's the other landing page software?
Optimize Press,
and
lead pages,
and they can quickly knock out a page in 5 minutes. Now, years ago, you know, 4, 5, 6 years ago, that was not the case. It wasn't the case that you could like knock out quality video. You can now do that on your phone. You've got the periscopes. You've got all these technologies that before cost the early pioneers of marketing in this space, particularly online, would have cost tens of thousands. Now it's like brass buttons, mainly a lot of it literally free, you know, or the price of, you know, a good cup of coffee at Starbucks on a monthly basis, daily basis. You're going to have pieces of software that can run your entire business, and you don't have to be technophobia anymore.
Yeah, you don't have to have any technophobia around what's going on. So, I mean, Rob's given you some great examples, actually. There's a lot of pieces of software that we actually refer to and we recommend, actually. So if you want to find out more, go on over to businessownerelevation.com/resources, and we actually list all of the pieces of technology software that we run Business Owner Elevation on, and more importantly, our clients use from our coaching programs. So technology, we give you the answers on that page. Go check it out. You'll see what we use. And if you've got any questions, simply join the Facebook group as we mentioned earlier. If you missed it, just rewind this episode and find where we mentioned that. So I'm moving on now, Rob, to the fourth thing that is preventing coaches from growing their business. Pricing. What do I charge? Am I charging enough? Am I charging too much? What can I do, Rob?
Yeah, well, the whole pricing bubble is again the whole value thing. And I think if you've done your research, like, here's the thing, like, one of the things, if you're in a market space and you want to be in a market space where there is other competition, that's a good thing, because it shows there's a market. First of all, you've got a pulse. You might want to buy some of their products. And, that's part of the research. Buy their products, look at the way that they've priced things up, look at the way they might upsell, downsell, etc., etc. But the whole pricing thing, I like to go, here's how I like to go in, because
let's hear this one, folks.
Some people are going in on the tripwire. Most people probably hear that terminology on the low end. Let's in the olden days, the old school will have heard of a clause called top and tail. That means we go to the top and drop. So I like to go expensive on pricing, as long as your product is positioned. So it's not just about arbitrarily picking a price. It's not arbitrarily picking a price. It's everything that's associated with that. So it's your social proof. It's your branding. It's the way you brand your course. It's the content inside the course. It's the social testimonials that you may have of other people that have had success, that then can go into that whole thing of pricing. There's many elements to pricing. You can't just say, because this coach charges that you can arbitrarily say, all right, mine's very similar, I will charge that. Because again, if somebody's in that marketplace and knows Coach A and Coach B, no doubt they will, if Coach A is doing his marketing right, or she's doing her marketing right, they're watching their videos as well. So they'll have gone into their funnel, maybe on their email list, and they're going to make a comparison. So you'll have heard me and Leon say this many, many more times. It's perception. Old wine in new skins is how you package.
Absolutely. What I will say though, if you're struggling with pricing, don't just fall into the trap of what do I charge per hour, because this is a whole big can of worms that you don't really want to go down the road of. I'll give you a quick story. I spoke to a lady before. She's a coach. She wanted to grow a business, struggling with cash flow. She's a single mother, and she's like, where I'm based, people won't pay the rates that I want to charge, so therefore I'm going hour per hour and I'm pricing them according to where I live. And I was just like, wow, what a big mistake that is for her to take. So what I explained is that what you need to do is look at where you want to be in the market and how do you compare, kind of like what Rob was saying. Do your research, look at where the bottom of the pile is, look at the top, and what I would say is start in the middle regardless. You've got to position yourself in the middle, because if you start at the bottom, generally that's where you'll stay, and it's a harder climb. Whereas if you come in at the middle, you're kind of, people will look at pricing and you will get respect just because of pricing. Whereas if somebody looks at something and you're cheap, that's what they'll think of you. So if you come in at a good price point where you start in the middle and you work your way up from there, as you start to see the results and the value that you're putting into what you offer your clients, that's the best place to start. But don't fall into the trap of I need to be per hour. Just look at the market and then just choose it from there. So that was point 4. The next thing, what is preventing coaches from growing their businesses? Number 5 is cash flow, Rob.
The flow of cash.
Flow.
The flow of cash. Yeah, so it's important. And what's going to determine or dictate the flow of cash? Obviously, arbitrarily your pricing. But more importantly, what is the systemization of your sales process? I know people that hate that word, sales. Oh my gosh.
Systemization.
It's a cuss word in some coaches, because a lot of coaches I spoke to do. I don't sell. Like, well, what do you do? Because it's an important element of any business. Did you, when you're with your partner, whether that be male, female, or you have sexual orientations, you got to sell them on the idea that I am the man, I am the girl for you. So there's got to be call it what you like. As our good friend Philip the Prolific would like to say, it's taking a path of mutual, walking a path of mutual consent. So, but there has to be some communication. There has to be some value given, and for that value given, a sale is consummated. It's made, and some money will be exchanged. But I think most people do not look at the sequence of their sales process. They're looking to try and get to somebody on a, the typical discovery call, and ask them for a certain fee, whatever they're charging, without taking out some of the objections.
I think the other thing with cash flow that may be preventing you from really growing your business is look at the way that you invoice. First of all, take a deposit or a commitment fee up front. Don't just work like the typical kind of traditional 30 days invoice. If people come on board and, for instance, they get access to a membership site, or you give them some stuff straight up before the program starts, well, heck, they need to invest in that and pay for that from the start, and you need to give yourself a fighting chance of actually growing this business. So in terms of cash flow, look at how you take your payments. Take monthly standing orders if your program is like a monthly service. Break your payments up to more regular, just so you know that there's cash coming in. Cash flow is the lifeblood of your business, and if you've not set yourself up in terms of your accounting, your invoicing, for that to happen, you're leaving a big hole for you to fall down. And what I would definitely advise is take commitment fees, take deposits, take some amount of money, so that you give yourself the chance to deliver value to your customers. Because if you have no money, you can't deliver it in the way that you need to for your customers. So that's my bit of advice there with cash flow. So our sixth point is marketing, Rob.
Marketing. Well, marketing is everything. To consummate a sale, there has to be pre-steps, baby steps before you run the marathon. And this is where you're going to have all of your marketing. And marketing is probably 80% does the 80% of the heavy lifting, because if you do the marketing the correct way, the sale is easy. But here's the thing with the marketing: there's something about sequencing, and you have to think, you have to walk a mile in your client's shoes. What are they going to be thinking at certain junctures? What information do you need to provide them with to make this path of mutual agreement easy, so they can walk that path and say, "Yep. Great, you've answered that concern, you've answered my reservation, I see that value." And that can come in many ways. It could be a blog post, it could be a PDF, it could be a video series, but you've got to give a ton of value that really addresses their concerns, so that when you get to a point of discovery call, it's really a very, very simple conversation of, "Yeah, I think we can meet in the middle, and great, and this is the investment that you need to make to enroll in my program.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these are the payment terms." And that's it. That's the only conversation. But if you haven't put enough marketing equity and thought about the sequential, because there's marketing and there's marketing, but there's something. Here's the killer. Bite on this, chew this like your Wrigley spearmint gum, right? It's this where in the there's a sequential thing that has to happen. There's a sequence. It's like I give you the ingredients to make your favorite meal, but if you start, putting in the veg and you haven't browned the meat, it's all over.
Or if you're baking a cake and you put in the bicarbonate of soda in the wrong time, after you've mixed up the egg and flour and you haven't put it in, you bake it and then you decide to put it in, your cake isn't going to rise. So there's many different things. The one thing I wanted to jump on, Rob, when you were going through that is a really important thing with marketing. When Rob was talking about walking in the shoes of your client, here's what I want you to really understand. Not only walk in the shoes, get into their mind, understand what they're feeling at that point before they're a customer, understand their pain, understand their wants, their needs, understand where they want to be, understand what they're prepared to do, understand the deep emotional impact that's going on in them, and understand how they will transform from your marketing message. Not even before, not even at the point where they're on your product, using your product, using a service, but in the marketing. And that's why Rob said your marketing does 80% of the heavy lifting. So the final 20% is where the sale is done. But up until that point, your marketing really is the conversation, is the romance, is the experience, is the feeling, it's the auditory, it's the kinesthetic, it's so many things, and that's what you've really got to put into your marketing to really give it that impact and punch. Marketing, baby. Let's go do this. Point 7, final one, Rob, systemization.
Yeah, systemization, sequencing, they kind of run together. They're twin brothers and systems that run tandemly together. And, if I think we spoke about one of the other things, the technology. Technology will form part of that systemization. It will help with some of the heavy lifting. And then with the marketing combined, the marketing systemization and sequentially is the messaging. It's the messaging at the right time and the delivery mechanisms, the technology that's going to combine together to get you the result that you want. So everything has to be mapped out and really thought about at a strategic level and not at a tactical level. If you think tactics, you're going to run into cul-de-sacs.
No-go areas, and that's a really good point. So yeah, as Rob said, systemization, it's the key thing that if you've read the book, the E-Myth, and the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, this is what he talks about. You need to get out of being the technician and you need to be the business owner. You need to look at how you can replace you in the business by putting in place systems. And as Rob said, with the technology available today, in this day and age, it can do so much for you. It can do the marketing, it can do automation, it can do the onboarding process, your shop front, i.e. your landing pages, marketing funnels, your websites, membership sites, videos can act as you being there, obviously teaching people without you being there. There's so many areas that systemization can work for you in your business, with you and your team, and externally for you and your customers. So really look at systemizing the processes that are draining your time. And this is a one thing that's just come to me right now. With your systems, what you should really be looking at is what £10 per hour jobs can you remove by putting a system in place as soon as possible, so that you can then focus on the £100 per hour work and then the £1,000 per hour work. And once you've got that in place, believe you and me, you will answer the question, what is preventing coaches from growing their business? Because that will take you in the direction of actually growing your business. No hindrance, no prevention, pure plain sailing and scaling.
Absolutely, and that's what we call elevation, execution, and evolutionizing your business.
Woo! Now that's a mouthful. Now that's been another wrap, guys. So we've just covered that. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you want to find out more about us, please visit businessownerelevation.com/podcast. If you want to get the resources I mentioned earlier, it's businessownerelevation.com/resources. If you want to jump in the Facebook group, it's businessownerelevation.com/group. Guys, taking you to higher heights of productivity and profitability. And with that note, Rob, you can close that.
I thought we just did for that.
I'm testing it. I thought maybe you'd have a bit of wisdom just to add. But guys, thank you for listening, and we look forward to catching you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Until next time, Elevation Nation, visit www.businessownerelevation.com and keep soaring to new and higher heights of productivity and profitability.